Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alyssa. Today we are doing a travel Q&A. I got a ton of questions submitted via Instagram and I thought the best way to answer everything is just to film a video and share it with you guys. So we're gonna be talking about budgeting, we're talking about eating, we're talking about planning, and basically all the things. So just want to make a little caveat. I am using natural light and the clouds are in and out today, so if it gets like dark light, sorry. Also, we're staying in an Airbnb right now in Chinatown and we're like right behind me, so the windows are right on like the main street of Chinatown in London and it's a little bit loud. So if you hear some background noise, that's what's going on. Also wanted to let you know that I have written a blog post to go along with this where I've kind of like written out the answers to some of these questions, so if you want to check that out, I've linked it down below for you. And I've also included all of my travel related videos, everything like that. I've linked the travel playlist up here. So without further ado, let's get started with our questions. The first topic that I'm going to tackle is budgeting because that is what I got the most questions about. There were questions like, do you have a daily budget? Budget-wise, which would be best, hotel or Airbnb? Actually, that is gonna be a specific thing that I'll answer in a second. Do you have any tips for not exceeding your budget? Do you have a budget? How did you budget? How are you affording this? So there's a lot of questions about that. A few things that I want to say before we dive into budgeting is, number one, we have given up our apartment in New York. So we don't have our life expenses in New York anymore. New York is obviously one of, if not the most expensive place to live in the US. So all of that money that we were putting towards rent and just life in general in New York is now free and, well, like not free, but is freed up. And so we've been able to use that money that we would have been spending at home on our life here. So that has kind of helped with that. The second thing is that I still have my business running. So I still have like a regular income coming in. I'm still making the same amount of money that I was making before. So for me, the budget process hasn't quite been like how maybe a lot of people would be doing this trip because I'm able to do my job anywhere. So I still have a job. Matt does not have a job, so he did quit his job and he has his own like budgeting process. But for me, I didn't have a set budget in mind going in. I think I kind of have like a loose number in my head, but I didn't want this trip to be like focused on the money really. Since we were spending so much on housing and everything like that in New York, we've been able to, like I said, use that. And I kind of know how much I want to spend per month on accommodations, which I'm trying to like kind of match with rent. Obviously, we're spending more on food because we're eating out a lot more. I do think that we have a few like things and maybe tactics that we're using that are helping us save a little bit of money on food, especially like maybe not going out every single day. And we're, first of all, not getting coffee and matcha out every day. So that can really add up, like a $3 coffee, whatever, that adds up. So instead I have all of my matcha stuff with me. And then we usually hit a grocery store when we get to a place and we will have like coffee stuff for him so that he can have his coffee. The other thing is that we are not really eating breakfast out at all. So whether we are staying in an Airbnb or a hotel, we'll usually get snacks. Usually hotels will try to get ones that have breakfast included so that that is something that we don't have to worry about paying for. And then Airbnbs, we at minimum always have breakfast at the Airbnb. So that is saving on that. And then Airbnbs, we're also cooking. So we'll just go to a grocery store and we usually aren't going out every single night if we're staying in an Airbnb. So we'll do a mixture of cooking and going out, and that definitely helps save a little bit of money. Oh, the other thing, I was gonna dive into another question, but the other thing is that we are also using credit card points for a lot of things that we're buying, like hotels and flights. He and I both have a Chase Sapphire Reserve card, I think, which is really, really great for travel. First of all, it doesn't have foreign transaction fees, so you don't have to worry about like spending money in euros and then having to pay a fee on top of that for them to convert it back to US dollars. Wow, that was a mouthful. But you also get points on travel related expenses that you can then redeem for other travel rewards. So I think it's like 2 and maybe 3x on things like dining out, travel expenses like flights, trains, taxis, Metro cards, like anything like that, you're getting double points for what you're spending. So for example, if you spent $40, you would get 80 points for that. So that has definitely added up for us, and we've been able to redeem our points for hotels and flights. You can't get points for Airbnbs, so we do pay out of pocket for that. And also for budget airlines, so things like Ryanair or EasyJet or Wizz or Vueling or any of these like more budget related airlines here in Europe, you can't use your points for that either. So we'll pay out of pocket for those, but then we get the points for them. So it kind of all like helps even out. So I would say that that's kind of how we've been able to do it. And I think that it's something to consider if you are thinking of going on an extended period of time internationally. Think about how you can potentially maximize your credit card value so that you can be getting the points back, and then you can end up getting things for free like hotel stays and flights and things like that. Somebody also asked about what's best budget-wise, Airbnb versus a hotel. And I think that it really depends on what you are wanting to do. What we're trying to do is if we're staying somewhere for a night or two, even 3 maybe, we'll do a hotel. If we're staying anywhere for more than 3 nights, we do an Airbnb. It's just a lot more comfortable. You can spread out. You have a kitchen, you have a living space, you have a bedroom. It's really helpful since I am getting up in the morning and working or working out. I can like shut the door and not wake him up. Can't really do that in hotels. So I don't think that one is necessarily cheaper than the other. I think that you can get price range wise, like you can go really high on Airbnbs as well as hotels. You can also get budget Airbnbs and budget hotels. So what I would do is I would pick your budget that you want to spend per night. Say it's $100 per night. And then I would look at your hotel options and I would look at your Airbnb options. I would look by location, see which one is more comfortable or which one you think is a better value, and then book from there. So I hope that answers that question. Next, for accommodation, somebody asked how much of this trip is hosted. So is like, how much am I getting invited to stay and then people are comping my stay? And the answer is only one place has done that. The place that we stayed at in Cork that I mentioned in our Ireland vlog, which I'll link up here, they did comp us graciously for a 2-night stay. And the reason that I decided that I didn't want to have this trip comped is that we haven't been planning it very like far in advance. We've kind of been doing it a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks out. And for example, actually we're going to Portugal tomorrow and we literally just booked our hotel this morning. So we aren't planning too far ahead, which is giving us a ton of flexibility, which I really value on this trip. And if we were trying to get comped like everywhere we're going, we would have to be booking everything out like far in advance, and that just doesn't let us have the flexibility to move around. And it also makes me feel like a little bit more required to like share specific things, even if I don't necessarily find that I like where I'm staying. So I decided to just like pay out of pocket for everything, and it gives you guys a more like realistic experience by what I'm seeing, because I'm like giving you my real opinion on everything, and it also just gives us more flexibility. So that answers that. We're only getting comped once. Okay, let's talk about how you eat on vacation while traveling when it's hard to eat out. Do you bring food? I haven't really brought food for this trip. I did actually post a video before we left about the food that I was bringing, and I got like so many people that were like, "You're crazy, you shouldn't be bringing all of that stuff, you can get it all over here." So I pared it all down. I brought like 5 protein bars and I brought some green juice powder, and that was it. And it's been totally fine. I did bring my matcha, which I'm so glad I did. I have matcha every single morning. And I also brought some Four Sigmatic packets, which I've really liked. But other than that, I haven't brought anything. Eating out-wise, I don't feel like I've had really trouble finding healthy food here. Obviously, like this part of the world is kind of similar to the US and just like where things are. I would say we probably have more options in the US at this point, but it really does depend on where you are in the world and what your options are. So Europe, I feel like, has been pretty great so far. I did write a post about how I'm finding the restaurants. So if you're interested, like, how do you find all these vegan places that you're sharing? I wrote a whole post about how to find them. There's 6 different ways that I'm using to find restaurants to eat at. So I'll link that down below for you if you're interested. And then somebody also asked about eating gluten-free, dairy-free, plant-based, and has that been challenging? And the answer again is like, not really. I actually feel like Europe is a little bit farther advanced on like their awareness of allergies. I found a lot of places that I walk into the restaurant and I sit down at a table and the first thing that they ask is, do you have any food allergies? I've also been able to find like a ton of vegan restaurants. I've been able to find gluten-free restaurants. And then if I can't necessarily find one, maybe I just find a restaurant that looks really good, but I can't like tell what the menu is looking like. I'll call ahead and I'll see if they can accommodate. So it honestly hasn't been that hard for me over here. Have you been suffering from traveler's constipation? My digestion has been pretty good over here. I'm still eating primarily plant-based and I'm trying to drink a ton of water, and I'm also exercising every single day. So I feel like that has helped keep me regular. Obviously, like sometimes there's like some like spurts of diarrhea or whatever, but I haven't had any constipation. I'm not somebody that actually really struggles with that ever. But I would say overall, like I'm just trying to make sure that I'm still getting fiber. I'm still getting some raw vegetables to help with like the roughage stuff with my digestion, and I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm drinking my matcha. I'm making sure that I'm getting proteins and healthy fats. So overall, I would say that my digestion has been pretty good, which is great. I definitely get bloated. I definitely get a little gassy and farty sometimes, but overall, I would say that as long as you're like trying to eat kind of close to how you eat at home, you should be fine. Somebody asked, where has your dog been this whole time? So that is probably one of the things that I think has been the hardest about this trip, is not being with her. She is staying in Colorado with Matt's family. She's in Denver, having the time of her life. She is totally fine without me. They're having snow. She's playing in the snow. She's going to the mountains. Like, she's fine. But I definitely think about her every single day. I look at pictures of her every single day. I watch videos of her. I like just think of her like in little moments of time, and I really, really miss her. I just can't wait to be reunited with her. It's just like, I'm thinking about the moment like all the time, and it just makes me so excited. I'm gonna see her on the 27th of December, and I'm definitely gonna get it on film, so it's something that I can like cherish forever, because I know she's just gonna be like so happy and so excited. I can't wait. So yeah, she's in Colorado having the time of her life. Somebody asked, why did you go to Europe in the fall or winter? And for us, this is just the timing that worked out. Our lease was up, our landlord was selling our apartment. We had lived there for 6.5 years, and we just were like, this is the time. It's been amazing over here. I love Europe in the fall. It's definitely starting to get a little colder, which is fine, but we had amazing weather in the fall. It wasn't too hot, it's not too crowded. I think fall is like the perfect time to visit Europe, so I would recommend it. Somebody is asking about how I planned my content. So like I said, business is still running as usual. You guys are still getting all of the content that I would normally be sharing. It's definitely a little bit more travel focused, but recipe-wise, still creating all of the recipes that I would have been sharing otherwise. However, I just filmed them all ahead. So I basically took all of 2019, or the beginning of 2019, and also last fall, fall of 2018, to create recipes for this time of year. So I had recipes done from the beginning of August through December. I shot all of the content. I haven't written everything, so I'm still like writing while I'm over here. But I shot all my photos and all my videos. So I'm still able to give you at least 2 to 3 recipes every single week, and at least 1 recipe related video every single week. And hopefully it hasn't felt like there's like a lapse in anything. And then just the extra content that I've been creating is just travel related. So vlogs, what I eat in a day, travel tips, etc. Somebody's asking about skin, so there's 2 more questions. Number 1 is about skin, how I'm keeping my skin clear while I'm traveling, and the answer is I'm not really. My skin has been, like, it goes through waves, basically, while I'm over here. When I was in Italy and Rome, it was, like, not good at all. I was, like, getting rashy and zitty on my cheeks, which I never get, and now it's just kind of like I'll get like random zits here and there. But basically like it's not perfect. I'm just trying to drink a lot of water. I'm trying to exercise every single day, and I'm trying to just like eat as healthy as possible. Okay, the final question is, how long are you doing this trip for? And then also, when you travel, are you staying in touristy locations? So it's kind of a two-part question. The first part is this isn't an indefinite adventure, although I wish it was. It's not. We aren't on visas, so we do have to be out of the European Union within a 90-day period. So we can't stay more than 90 days within a 6-month period. So we are planning on going home right before Christmas, 19th or 20th of December. We're going to be flying to Boston, staying with my family in Vermont for Christmas, and then flying back out of Boston on the 27th to Colorado to pick up Trevi. And then we don't really have a plan from there yet. So we'll figure that all out whenever. I'm not sure when, but we are going to be like back in the States for Christmas. And then the final thing is, when we're traveling, where are we staying? Are we staying in the touristy locations in the centers of cities, or are we going like on the outskirts? And we're doing both. We are definitely staying primarily in cities. We both love cities. I love the culture of cities. I love seeing different cities in the same country, just like getting different feels of them. I think it's a great way to experience the local cuisine, the local culture. There's just like so much happening. So I personally love it. And when we are staying in a city, we try to stay in the center of things so that we can walk around and explore, try all the restaurants, stuff like that. But we actually are also mixing in kind of like outskirts type thing. We've had a few trips to like mountain areas. We did Tuscany, we did Ireland, we did the Netherlands, we're doing Portugal and Spain. A lot of those will also not just be focused on like the main cities. So we're doing a mixture of both. I think it just kind of depends on like what you like. If you like cities, go to the cities. And if you are going to be going to the cities, I would recommend spending a little bit more to stay in the downtown areas, especially if you're limited on time, so that you can like really explore and walk around and not have to worry about like timing trains and getting taxis or whatever it is. So that would just be my personal recommendation. But again, kind of up to you guys. So that pretty much does it, my friends. I feel like I've been talking for ages. Sorry if the background noise is really loud. I just hear people like banging glass around in the background. I'm just like, hopefully this was still helpful and interesting. If you have any questions for me, any additional questions, any like whatever, ask them down in the comments. I will respond to you and get back to you. I've also linked everything that I mentioned down in the description box, and I've timestamped everything. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for following along on this adventure. It's been the adventure of a lifetime so far. I'm having the best time. I've loved exploring all of these different countries. It's going by so fast, and I can't believe that we're already over halfway done. But we still have a lot to come: Portugal, Spain, and then we're not really sure what the middle/end of December is going to look like yet. So actually, if you have any recommendations for where we should visit in December that's kind of near here, well, in either Europe, Morocco, we're talking about, not really sure, let me know in the comments. And otherwise, that's all I have. So thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for asking your questions and for being interested in all of this stuff. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.